Okay, so today I'm going to answer one of my most frequently asked questions, only I'm going to answer it in a way that's not answering it because I feel like this is going to be a little bit more helpful. Now, a lot of you that are watching this channel, this is probably not going to be anything new for you. However, whenever I was first starting out doing micro repairs, I sort of wish somebody would have handed this to me because my entire life, my entire background in electronics was mostly on older stuff, and if I needed a resistor or a component, I would go down to the local Radio Shack and I would buy resistors and components. So since then, things have changed quite a bit, and I'm going to show you how it is that I source some of these smaller components. Not all of them, because after I show you just a couple of them, you should be able to order just about you'll be able to order quite a bit of stuff. So let's see. The first thing I'm going to do, let's open up an iPhone 6 schematic. Let's work off of the iPhone 6 here, and I'm just going to cover a couple of basic components really quickly and then move on because I can't spend much time on this. Let's see. So here we've got the iPhone 6 opened up. Now you can see the iPhone 6 here, and at the very top, now this is a freely available PDF. This isn't a $100 copy of ZXW tool. If you get on Google and you look for an iPhone 6 PCB PDF or whatever, you will be able to find this schematic. So let's see. Let's pick a component. Some components are really easy. Let's go for example, let's go for a backlight diode first. If we zoom in here on the iPhone 6 schematic, we'll find out that the backlight diode is right here. It's D1501. So now if we search the schematic for D1501, we are going to find the backlight diode in the circuit. So here's the backlight diode. Now, if we zoom in a little bit on this diode, you'll find out that right here on the schematic, there's this number, NSR05P2T. Like, there's this big long number. So let's take that number and let's just copy that to the clipboard, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do, I've got DigiKey's website opened up here. This is where I order almost everything that I use as far as small components go. So let's put that part number right here in the search box, and we're going to come up with, oh, hey, look here, we get backlight diodes. Huh? Now, sure, there's a lot of them, so that might be a little bit confusing. So from there, you'll want to kind of drill down and see what's available, see what the cost is. This particular diode here, for some reason, oh, because minimum quantity of one. So if we buy one of these, they're going to want 47 cents a piece for it. So let's just do this. Let's go ahead. Let's get one. Let's get this in the cart. Now you'll notice that DigiKey will help you out a lot. We don't want to buy one of these. We're going to want 100 of them. We're in business. Now, if you're just somebody that needs a couple of backlight diodes, like to fix your girlfriend's phone or something, you should probably just order, this is still cheaper. What am I saying? I was going to say order from some micro soldering supply place. But I guess if you want them to do the homework for you, because if you buy this as a backlight diode, it's going to cost you like hundreds of times more than getting on DigiKey and buying it for the actual component that it is, because the iPhone is not the only one that's going to use this component. These things are in stuff all over the place. So let's say we're going to add 100 to the cart, and a lot of times DigiKey will stop you and it'll say, hey, wait a minute, it's going to be a lot cheaper. Okay, so it didn't help us out too much here. They're going to give us, it looks like we're spending 20 cents a piece on them, but we're getting 100 of them for 20 bucks. So I'm not showing you much savings there. So there we've got the diode. Let's go ahead. Let's switch back over to the schematic. Let's see about backlight capacitors. So these here are our backlight capacitors. They're 2.2 microfarad, 25 volts. Now this is on the output side of the backlight circuit. So and these aren't going to have, we're not going to work off of a model number here. We're going to work off of this. This is their rating of capacitance. These are 2.2 microfarad, and they are rated for 25 volts. This 0402, that is the size. That's how big it is on the board. So from there, we're going to go back over to DigiKey. We're going to look for, that is a ceramic capacitor. So we're going to look here under capacitors. And then we can pick here ceramic capacitors. Now look at this. There are 539,000 capacitors, for crying out loud. Oh, how am I going to pick out of 539 capacitors? Well, we're not. We're going to reduce that substantially. So we're looking for backlight caps, remember? So let's go off of what we do know. We know it was 2.2 microfarad, right? So here's our capacitance. We're going to drop this down, and we're going to find, let's see, that's picofarad. Let's go up all the way up to microfarad. So we want 2.2 microfarad, and we're going to click it. Now, we just went from 500,000 down to 4,500, so we're already really substantially narrowing this down. Now, we want capacitor rated for 25 volts, so we're going to pick 25 volts. So now we're looking for a ceramic capacitor that is 2.2 microfarad and 25 volts. Now we need the size. You know, that's other than the size, other than the voltage and the capacitance, the size don't matter too much. You just got to run some wires to it. All right, let's see if we can find the right size. So let's grab, what size do we say this was? 0205? No, 04, what am I saying? 0402? What a day. So we're going to go over here to, what do they call it? A case or a package? So we're going to scroll right on over here. Here we go, package case. All right. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to find 0402 and we're going to click it. And look at this. We've just narrowed this down to 49 remaining results. Now we're going to click on apply filters. Now we have 49 capacitors on the list here. Now, if you really want to get picky, we can dial this in even closer. So let's, what was our tolerance? 20%. So we can put that in there. We can go ahead and put a tolerance of 20%. And then we're going to go, okay, so there's 26 remaining. I don't remember how many was there before. So we've got this whole entire page of capacitors. Goodness gosh, look at all these capacitors. The beauty of it is that I think pretty much any one of these will work. They're the right size. They're the right voltage, they're the right capacitance. You could probably make just about any one of these work. So now we're going to shop by convenience. What's their minimum order quantity and what's the price? And so we're looking at 35 cents on this one. And I should just pull up my list and just add the item numbers, but I want to go through this the same way that I went through it myself. And this is the way I've done it. I've went through and I've picked out these, you know, I've put in the specifications and I've searched this down and found them. So we've got minimum order of 1. Any one of these minimum orders of 1 will work. I'm probably leaving out something really silly here, but we're not going to worry about that now today. Now, are we? So let's see. This one is 26,000 immediate. And I guess this is really where it can get confusing because, for crying out loud, we have 2 pages of capacitors and we're trying to pick the one that'll work. And honestly, if you've got 2.2 microfarad, 25 volts, 0402, any of these are going to work. So let's shop by price alone. 30 cents on this one, 35 cents here, 9 cents, but a minimum quantity of 10,000, so we don't really want that. Let's see. Look at here, 25 cents. These are 25 cents a piece with a minimum order of 1. So let's highlight that a little bit. Ooh, 24 cents. We're getting even cheaper. So there's 24 cents. Wonder what this X6S, X5R, see that's something that I don't really know. I'm not sure what that means, but I see it here. So let's pay attention to that. X5R. See, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. Like I said, Radio Shack. So let's pay attention to this X5R. I'd have to go back and look and see my models of what I ordered before. So let's not get too cheap. Let's pay attention to this X5R. Here's 31 cents. And that's in the description. So I don't think I can drill that down unless I put it in the search box. So 37 cents, 3 cents. Well, you get the idea. So let's save a little bit of money here. Let's grab this X5R, 35 cents. All right. Wait, wasn't there one that was cheaper? Whatever. Let's just get this one. Okay. 35 cents. But DigiKey will hold your hand if you're going to order a ton of them. Like let's say we're going to order, let's put in 100. Remember, they want 35 cents. But if you're going to order 100 of them, they're going to give them to you for 14 cents a piece. And sometimes you'll put in a quantity and it'll tell you, hey, if you just do a little bit more, it's going to be cheaper. They'll really help you out. So now we've got, we have 100 backlight capacitors. We have 100 backlight diodes. And now we're going to go for, let's go for VCC main caps. Now, VCC main caps, almost all of them are 10 microfarad, 6.3 volts. I've seen 15, you know. You're going to wind up ordering a bunch of different sizes, but ordering it like this, you can afford to do that. So let's look at C1552. That's a 10 microfarad 0402. So we are going to switch back over to DigiKey. And we are going to put in, we're going to grab capacitors. We're going to select ceramic capacitors again. We're going to select our casing size here. We'll pick 0402. We're going to go over here. We're going to pick 10 microfarad. Whoops, we don't want that. Okay. 10 microfarad. The voltage is 6.3 volts. Okay. Now we've narrowed this down to 37 capacitors. Okay. And then also that one specifies this X5R. Honestly, I don't know what X5R is. I have no clue. But we'll pretend like it means something. So here we've got our minimum quantities. We've got our prices. So here, these are 41 cents, 50 cents, 62 cents, 13 cents. We're going to go for the, I'm not sure that one says X6S. Somebody will have to correct me because I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the X6 or X5S is. I don't know what that means. So let's go back up here. Let's not get too greedy. I've seen these for 41 cents, right? 51 cents. Here we go. 41 cents right here. Here's our cap. Now, let's see. 20. No, here we go. Here's our cap. 23 cents. Why would I buy one for 41 cents when I can buy them for 23 cents? And then when they know I'm going to buy 100 of them, it's going to be even cheaper. So if we buy one, they're going to sell them to us for 23 cents, but we're not. We're going to buy 100, so we're going to get them for 7 cents. So there is 100 of our common VCC main caps. Okay, so now we are up to 100 backlight caps. We're up to 100 backlight diodes. Now this is iPhone 6, mind you. And we're up to 100 VCC main caps. So I'm not going to provide a list of links directly to these components. I'd much rather show exactly how to find some of this stuff. I don't know how well this is going to work outside the United States because I've never bought this stuff outside the US. I know DigiKey works for me, and if I place this order here in the United States, I'm in Missouri. It's here in 2 days. I hit the buy button. It is here in my mailbox in 2 days. It's really phenomenal. It's like this. Now, okay, so we have VCC main caps, we have backlight output caps, and we have backlight diodes. Let's go after another really common cap that shorts, and we're going to look at the chestnut area of the board. Chestnut is notorious for cap shorting, and these you'll notice are also, a lot of these, okay, these are on VCC main, so we're 10 microfarad, 6.3 volts. But if we get on our 5V7 lines, you run into some that are just a little bit different. These are 10 volts, 10 microfarad, 10 volts, 10 microfarad. There's nothing special here. I'm going to show you the same exact thing again. So let's go back over to DigiKey. We're going to pick ceramic capacitors, okay, and then we're going to pick ceramic. I picked the wrong thing. All right, so we're going to go back. We're going to pick ceramic capacitors, and those are also 0402. Okay, and they were what, 10 volts, 10 microfarad? I forgot. So these output caps, 10 volts, 10 microfarad. So that's our 5V7 caps there. We're going to pick 10 volts. Microfarad. Oops. Oh yeah, and you can pick more than one too. Like if you want to, like you can hold down control and you can pick, you know, you can select different capacitances, which that'll come in handy when you're searching for other things that are a little more difficult to find. So we've got 10 microfarad, 10 volts, 0402. We're going to hit apply, and we've narrowed this down to 10 results. And from here, I'm going to shop by price alone. So we've got a minimum quantity here, 40 cents, 12 cents, 5 cents, 27 cents. So here we go, 27 cents. Quantity available 0. There's none there. So we're looking at 27 cents up here. We're going to pick this one, and we're going to grab 100 of them, and they will sell them to us for 10 cents a piece at 100 of them. Okay, so there we have backlight output caps, we got VCC main caps, and we've got Chestnut 5V7 caps. Let's go ahead and cover, let's look at a couple of inductors here. Actually, let's go with the standard 01005 ferrite beads. That's another thing that you're going to use a ton of. So if we switch back over here to the schematic, and let's just find one of these things. Let's see, if I was a 01005 ferrite bead, where would I be hiding? You know, it's like I mess with this stuff all day long, but then whenever it comes time to do a demonstration, I'm brain farting. Let's look at FL 2001 right here. So we're going to put in FL 2001. I believe that's what we're after. Yes, this is a 210 milliamp ferrite bead filter. Okay, we are going to look at inductors, coils, and chokes, right? Inductor kits, coils and chokes, fix it. No, let's go back. Let's select filters. And we're going to look at ferrite. Here we go, ferrite beads. That is a ferrite bead filter. And the package size, we're going to drill that down first. Notice we have 7,514 results. So once we pick our package size here, that's going to reduce significantly. And we're going to pick 01, did I pass it? Yeah, 01005, it's tiny. Now we've only got 126 remaining. We're going to dial in the current rating, which was what, 310 milliamps or 210 milliamps. So we'll pick 210 milliamps. And look, now we only have 3 remaining. With 3 remaining, we really don't have to worry about filtering any farther. We can just look at the list. So here is our 3 remaining. We have these 01005, tiny, teeny little things. And there's only one here that we would really buy. A minimum quantity of 1. Now, this DigiReel, this is just the different package that it's going to come in. If you're not ordering that many, you're better off just to order, you don't need to order a whole entire reel. So here is our 01005 ferrite beads. You will use tons of these. Now, if you're just somebody fixing your brother's phone or something, you probably don't want to order these in bulk. But if you're like trying to do this, if you're trying to do this as a business, you're going to want to be able to throw these things away when needed. You're going to want to be able to blow a capacitor off the table and not worry that that was a $1 capacitor. Because when you're ordering from people that sell it as a backlight capacitor, a lot of times you're going to pay $1 a piece for it. So here is our 01005 components. We are going to add 100 of these ferrite beads to our cart. Notice they're 26 cents a piece. Unless you buy 100 of them, then they're 12 cents a piece. So let's get 100 of those in our cart. Now, the last thing that I'm going to show you, let's go ahead and order, let's grab a backlight filter, okay? So we will go back over to DigiKey, and to find the backlight filter, first we need to find the backlight circuit, right? So an easy way to do that, we can just type backlight in the schematic. Hey, Chestnut backlight driver, and we're going to scroll down here, and here's our backlight driver. And remember, backlight anode comes out here, so we're going to trace the anode down. And it should lead us at the backlight filter over here. Okay, so here's a backlight filter. It's basically the same thing. It's just a little bigger. It's a ferrite bead, and it is rated for 200 milliamps. Now, the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6, they're close enough in current rating. Just use the same one. In fact, I would recommend using the 200 milliamp one in the iPhone 6s instead of the 300, because the 6s is notorious for welding itself to the pads, and the 200 milliamp one might not actually do that the next time it blows. So here is the backlight filter, FL 2024. And we're going to switch over to DigiKey. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to look for filters. We are going to choose ferrite beads and chips, and then we're going to pick our package size, 0201, okay? Right now we have 7,000 possibilities, so we're going to go over here, we're going to pick our package size, we're going to choose 0201, 0.01. That takes us down to 440. We're going to grab our current rating, which was what, 200 milliamps? And you know, you can fudge this a little bit. Apple did. Trust me, they did. So there's 200 milliamps. That leaves us with 132 remaining. Oh gosh, what do we do now? We might have to put in another spec. So 0.8 ohms. That is a low resistance. I think this 0.8 ohms, I think that's maybe its maximum resistance. I'm not really 100% sure, but let's see what we can do with that. So DC resistance, you can see these are all 200, 600. If you're not sure about a spec, a lot of times you can look and see other things here and really narrow it down. So the higher ohm here, that's going to be right here, 240 ohm. That's going to be like an impedance at a certain frequency. So if we scroll down here and we can see that this kind of matches here. Let's go ahead and see if we can match that column. Impedance frequency at. And me not knowing what frequency that backlight output circuit is going to make me look like a jackass here, but I'll probably publish this anyway. So let's look at 240 ohms at 100 megahertz. Is that right? Can we get 240 at any other hertz? 500, 220. See, I don't know what frequency we're supposed to be looking at here, but I'm going to say 100 megahertz is probably pretty close. So now we've narrowed this down to 31. What else do we got here? We've got 0.8 ohms. That is going to be like its saturation or maybe the maximum resistance. .8, 800. That's it right here. So here's our 0.8. And that narrows us down to 11. Okay, so now we have sat here and we've picked this down and we've narrowed it down from thousands to 11. This is going to be a list of good candidates for backlight coils. Now we're going to be looking at minimum order quantity. Here's 1, 14. Look at there. That's kind of weird looking, isn't it? Why does that look so weird? 200 milliamps. Watch, I'm going to have like 2,000 people order the wrong backlight filter. That'll be okay. That's all part of learning. Okay, so 0201, 240, 200 milliamps, 800 milliohms maximum resistance. And I think we have pretty well dialed this in. We are going to select this one here. They are 14 cents a piece. I hope that's not the right one. See, that's why I don't want to tell everybody exactly which ones to order, because I have substituted on some of this stuff. Chances are if you substitute, it's going to be just fine. So this one, if you buy one, they want 14 cents. Make sure our size is right, because the picture looks a little bit off. Everything looks okay so far. So if you buy one, that's going to be 14 cents. If you buy 100, they're going to give them to you for 6 cents. So let's buy 100. Seriously, less than half the cost if you buy 100 of them. Okay, so now we have a shopping cart here. It has 100 iPhone 6 backlight diodes. It has 100 backlight output caps. We have 100 VCC main caps. We have 100 chestnut caps. We have 100 of these tiny little 01005 ferrite bead filters that are like everywhere, like all over the place. You're going to use these things all the time, so you need a bunch of them. And then the last on the list here, we've got this backlight filter. I'm going to ask for anybody that sat here and watched me do this. I did this first in my own time. I have my own list that I use. I wanted to do this video as a step-by-step as to how it is that I put together my parts list. So I do ask of you to not copy these exact part numbers and verify the stuff that I've done here today, because I'm not going to guarantee that this is 100% correct. You're probably fine. Now, the hardest thing that I had to locate as far as buying from DigiKey, the most tricky thing that I was after is the actual backlight coil itself. And for the backlight coil, I'm not going to go in. We're not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to do that one on video today because it's not any different. I'm looking at the specs in the schematic and I'm putting them in on DigiKey to narrow it down and find it. Now, the difference on the backlight coil, though, is that I didn't know what package size to go with. One of my viewers might be able to straighten me out, but I didn't know what package size to go with. So I dialed in my current saturation, I dialed in my maximum limits. I put in what our inductance is in microhenries. I put in our maximum current. I was able to put in everything, but I didn't know exactly what size to get. So what I wound up doing was taking the original coil and I put it under the microscope with a ruler and I measured it. And I measured this coil and I put in all the perimeters I needed to match this up on DigiKey. And what I came up with was, to get the exact right coil, I was like a 1/2 millimeter or a millimeter too tall. And a millimeter is like the height of the CPU, and you can't just double the height of the CPU and think life's going to be happy. So I wound up on the actual backlight coil, I wound up settling for tiny bit less current. I think I went with 10 milliamps less current in order to get almost a full millimeter shorter, and I wound up with some really, really, really nice coils, which my last video I did a backlight rebuild in it. You'll see me using those substitute coils. I love them. They work great. But I'm not going to say for sure that that is absolutely the die-hard correct coil to be using, and I'm not going to cover it in this video. So that is where I order most of my components. I used to go to local micro soldering supply places, but whenever I start throwing away, you know, this is my strip of iPhone 6s big backlight caps. Whenever you start blowing stuff off the table, these little dollars and cents, they really, 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 really start to add up. And early on in the game, if I had realized, see, I always knew I could order in bulk. I always knew I could get on DigiKey and order this stuff, but I thought I had to buy big spools of it. I thought I had to spend major, major, major money to buy this in bulk. And as you can see here, I have just put together an order that has what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 products on it, and it's going to cost me $72 plus some shipping. And it's going to be here in 2 days if I were to order this, and I've actually already got all these in stock, so I'm not going to order that. But as far as ICs and stuff, I primarily order from AliExpress unless I need to get it here locally, and then I'll buy it here locally. But the same thing is true for ICs. If you switch over to your schematic and look at the iPhone 6 schematic, let's go ahead and search for backlight. Okay, here's the backlight driver. And here it is. It says it is a TPS 6503. Oh, no, that's not the backlight driver. I thought that was... Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So here we go. LM3534. Here is your backlight driver. And see this LM3534? That is a number that we can use to identify it. So if you pull up AliExpress and you put in LM3534, you're going to find strips of these things. And what I do on AliExpress is I heavily rely on orders. Like, I will look and see how many orders there are and see what the overall feedback is. Because people, I mean, surely that can be faked, but this is how I order them. And this is about the cheapest way that I know to get them. It seems like anytime I've ever ordered this component in the United States, it's like almost always reballed. And there's a lot of reballed components that I'm completely okay with, but backlight drivers seem to be notorious for being bad. I've ran into a handful of iPhone 6s where the backlight driver will actually prevent it from powering on because of I2C issues inside. So this is what I do about ICs. They primarily come from AliExpress, but where possible, I mean, you can take and just take and plug that same number directly into Google and Google it, and you'll find places all over the place selling them. So as far as where to source the component and what the component is, a lot of the times the answer is in your schematic. Just look at the schematic. It tells you what size it is, what the rating is, and if you use your head a little bit and Google around, you can find it. But I can't say people outside the country how true this is, but if you're inside the country and you need to order backlight caps, this is Ferrite Bead 0201. This is Backlight Filters. You know, it's a 0201 Ferrite Bead. This is a backlight filter, but DigiKey's not going to hold your hand and let you find it as a backlight filter. You have to put in the technical specs and size in order to be able to find it. But if you don't already know all this, this is probably going to save you a lot of money if you're trying to do this for a living. So guys, that is it for this video. I got to move on. That's my shirt. And I hope you learned something from this, and I'm really excited to show you. I've been planning on recording this for a minute, but I'm really busy. So that's it for now, everybody. Thanks for likes, thanks for commenting, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.